Okay, so I've been working on learning Construct 2. And basically, the things that I've learned is how to make a tiled background on its own separate locked layer, change the position of a tiled background, insert a mouse object and a keyboard object, insert sprites, resize sprites, add behaviors like being able to move with arrow keys, and making the camera scroll where the player goes, making the player bound to the layout so it doesn't walk off the game, adding a bullet behavior to the bullet, um, adding destroy outside the layout to the bullet so that the memory doesn't get destroyed, adjusting the speed of the monsters and the bullet, adding events to make the player rotate every tick, and also so that it looks at the mouse, and then making an event to where it will shoot a bullet, and also how to run the layout to kind of test the game. But that's about halfway there to the game. So I'm going to show you what I've learned so far. So this is how you add the tiled background. Okay, and then this is how you're going to change the position. You want it to be in the upper corner, so you're going to change that to 0. Oh, comma 0. And that changes it all the way over to the corner there. Now to figure out the size of the background that you want it to be, you're going to click over here to see how big the white one is. And then you'll be able to see here that it's 1708 by 960. So you want this to also be that. So I'm just going to change that here. Okay, so now I have my tiled background. Okay. Next, we're going to insert a mouse object and keyboard object. Okay, so this is, I forgot to mention that I also learned that you should label your layers. So we're going to label this one background. Oops. And then we're going to go ahead and lock that. We're going to create a new layer over here on the right. Okay. So for the second layer, we're going to rename that main. Okay. So then we're going to go ahead and add a mouse object. This is so that it knows it's going to receive input from the mouse, and then we're going to go ahead and add a keyboard object. Okay, so it'll receive inputs from both the mouse and the keyboard now. So the next thing that we're going to do is insert our sprites. So the sprite is kind of like the person, like the Mario of the game or whatever. So we're just going to double click there. We're going to choose sprite. And then just click anywhere. Go here to file. And I have a ukulele that I'm using. He's too big, so we have to resize him down. I'm gonna make him about that big. Looks good to me. Okay, and then we're going to double click again to add the bullet. And our bullet is going to be musical notes. I'll resize that too because that's too big. Okay, and then we're going to double click. We're going to add another sprite, and this is going to be one of the monsters. I'm going to make, I haven't gotten around to getting all of the artwork done yet, but I'm going to make the monsters be chords so that it's kind of educational. You learn what each chord looks like on the ukulele while you're shooting them with the little music things. So it's kind of like a fun video game, but at the same time educational. I think it's kind of cool. So the next thing that we're doing, now that we've added all of our sprites, is we are going to add some behaviors. So we want him to be able to walk around. So in order to make him be able to walk around, we have to add that as a behavior. And that is called 8 direction. So we're going to add that to him. Another thing that we want him to do is we don't want him to be able to walk off of the layout. So we have to add bound to layout. And then another behavior that we need to add for him is scroll to. That way when he moves past this boundary here, he's going to move, the camera's going to move with it. So, okay, so that's what we're doing for him so far. Okay, now this is the bullet that shoots out of him. So we're going to double click him. We're going to add some behaviors for the bullet as well. So we want it to disappear once it goes off the screen. So we're going to destroy him outside the layout. And then another thing that we're going to do is add the bullet function so that he'll just fly across the sky there. Okay. And then for the monster, we're also going to add the bullet function so that he'll just walk across the screen too. So we'll just go to behavior for him. Add destroy outside layout. And then we're also going to put bullet function. Now you can also, when you click on your sprites, like this is my bullet sprite, you can change the speed. So if you want it to go faster than 400, you can change that to 600. And then this is the little monster. We don't want him to go at 400. Let's make him just go 80. So he'll go kind of slow. We can even make him go slower than that if we want like 50. Would probably be good. Okay. So now we have those behaviors added to it. We can run the layout if we want, but I would rather, for time constraints, just go ahead and get the other behaviors added on before we test it. So, so another thing that we have to do when making a game is we also have to create events. So to add an event, you'll click there. Now, if we want the player to rotate in the direction of the mouse, you're going to do that by clicking on System. You want it to check for every tick. That's going to be about 60 frames per second, because that's the refresh rate on most computers. And then we're going to click Add Action. And this is for we want the player, which is the ukulele, to look at the mouse. So we want him to set angle towards position. And then we're going to type in here mouse dot X. And then we're going to type in mouse dot Y. then we're going to hit done. And so then that should make him kind of, you know, wiggle about. Okay. Excuse me. The second event that we're going to do is we want to make the ukulele fire some music bullets every time we click the mouse. So we're going to do that by adding another event. Okay. And that's going to be an event with the mouse on click. Okay. And then we're going to click on the ukulele guy. And then what we're going to want to do is we're actually spawning another object. And so that other object is going to be this, the little music notes. So then we're going to click done. And we're going to go back to our layout. So the thing, when it shoots out, it's going to be shooting out from the origin point of the ukulele sprite here. So we want to check and see where that actually is, or maybe even set an alternate origin point. So we can do that by clicking on the ukulele, right-clicking it, and hitting Edit Animations. And this little button down here called Set Origin and Image Points, we're going to click on that. So it looks like it already saved my image point from before when I was creating this. So you can see the new image point that I made, which is right there. But the origin point, where's it at? I had set it right here. Originally it was up here, but I had to move it down here. So you notice how on the image point it gives it a new number. It's kind of like how the computer's recognizing each point. So image point 1 is right there. So that is where I want my little musical note bullet to come from. So I need to go back into the event sheet, and I need to click on this to edit that, because image point 0 is where the bullet's going to come out from. So you want to change that to 1 and then click done. Okay. And it should be working. I'm going to put this over here so we can see this little monster move across the screen when we test it a little bit better. Okay, and then we are going to go ahead and test it and run layout. Oh, see? And then there's that guy moving down there. Okay, so if we click the mouse, you see the little music shooting out of there. Okay, and then if we move the arrow keys, that makes him go forward. And if you notice, he kind of like follows the mouse. And then the arrow keys will move him forward again. He can move down or up. I still have to program it to make something happen when he shoots the chords with the musical notes. But this is how far I am with it so far, which is kind of cool that I'm actually able to make it shoot stuff. So I know it's not very fancy yet, but it's exciting to me. So, and I think it'll be a fun learning tool once I slow down the characters a little bit more. I think that I should probably make the this guy go even slower so that you can read the chords while you're playing and then shooting at them. But that is Construct 2. I call it Construct, but I think it's supposed to be Construct 2.